Hello there and welcome back to my channel, and this is the second episode of my Painting Flowers Simply videos, and we're going to have a go at a couple of more things today. But again, I just remind you that this is about painting things simply and not overcomplicating things. And if you overcomplicate things, it's like a rod for your back. So this program is about simplicity and doing things easily. I like doing things easily, so I hope you enjoy it, and we'll get straight into it. We're going to start another little drawing of a flower and a couple of leaves. Really quickly again, spending no time at all. And this is really an observation of values more than anything else. So we'll do a very, very quick drawing of it. Always, I tend to be quite a quick drawer. Just trying to imagine it. Now, the view that you're seeing of this drawing is not the same view as the camera sees. So if it doesn't look much like the actual or the wrong perspective from the photograph or the video you see of it, that's because I'm painting it from life, and you'll find if you have a go at it, the camera can't duplicate what the eye sees. So, and then the center there, and a little bit at the back, and then the stem comes out. So something like that. And then there's a couple of leaves as well, which I'm going to paint. Again, all quickly. The beauty of watercolour, and one of the reasons I like it so much, is that it has adventure to it. And Sargent, who was John Singer Sargent, who was the greatest watercolourist I think that there's been, he used watercolour for adventure. He had a lot of time in his studio just painting, and he looked at watercolour as a mechanism to get out of the studio and see the world. So it was a definite adventure for him. Right. There we go. I think that's pretty much there. I don't want to go too much in the drawing. Anyway, that's the drawing done. So here's the next part of it. And again, I'll put some pure colour on my palette. So obviously cadmium yellow pale, if that's what it really is. And I'm going to put in raw sienna, which is a lovely colour. I like raw sienna a lot. So that can be, and it is a yellow, but it's more of an earth coloured yellow. Wash the brush in between, and then we're going to have the leaves. So they're quite dark. Try and get those colours in. That's got a bit of white on that, so I might clean that out quickly. Get rid of that. That's from the last mix. So there we go. A little bit of Viridean too. Pop that there. So always trying to get a few colours onto the palette. It's almost, I think of it as the same as squeezing my oil paints out on my palette. So you've got to squeeze your paints out to begin with. Okay, that's that. A little bit of cerulean blue, which I'll pop there. Remember, that's the counterbalance colour. And that should do it. Right. Again, a little bit more of the raw umber. Right, that's it. Right. Looking at the flower now, take a really good look at it. So I'm going to, let me think. So I'm going to start with the centre of it. And the centre of it, I'm going to give a little bit of a blue tone to it because it's in the shadow. So the light's coming from that way. I'm going to give the centre a little bit of a shadow to it. So I always paint shadows in blue. I must stress that I don't see that colour. But it's just a gentle mix of blue in the centre. Again, I want to counterbalance things. So that's the first colour I'm going to put in there. Maybe we're going to stretch it out to the left because that's still in shadow that side. So that's the first layer there. Now I'm going to move on to the leaves. Okay, so again, the blue at one end. This is quite a fascinating thing. So you'll see with the leaf how the colour can change all the way along. So I'm going to make it darker. It's interesting. Just keep watching it. Changing the colour. Okay. And now for the next one. The next leaf is upside down, so it's very light. So mainly cerulean blue. There we go. And I think I'll let that dry for a bit. So I left that dry for a bit, and now I need to really look very carefully at it. And I'm going to use the yellow. Yellow isn't my favourite colour. It's a bit opaque, and there's something about it, but you can't not have yellow, so I still use it anyway. So we're trying to keep the light bits light, so let's give it a go. So a light bit on there. So important to keep things fresh. Keep watching. Looking is the most important part of painting. So light bit on the outside. That will do. Now we're going to work on the inside. So a darker colour. So we've got to make this richer. So maybe a little bit of burnt sienna. I do see a bit of red coming through there. So let's get that going. The yellow. So mixing these colours up. So you see the burnt sienna coming into the yellow there. Really quite dark. So you see patches of the blue coming through, which I quite like, and I don't want to obliterate that completely. Then at the back, you've got the green stem, which is quite nice, and that adds a sort of counterbalance again. That's quite nice. And a bit of raw sienna, that could be the stem coming through. That's quite interesting, quite like that. Now for the centre of it, but this may be a bit too soon. There's a dark, maybe that's raw sienna again. There's a dark bit in the middle, the stamen. Yeah, maybe a bit of blue as well, just to give it a bit of variation. That's nice. So just to, now this leaf here is going into the next one. So I need to create some sort of barrier here, or a change to give the impression that that's another leaf coming in. But you notice I'm not putting detail in. I don't think that's the way to paint flowers. So what I've put now is a bit of cobalt blue here, and I'm going to place that in there as a sort of counterbalance. Maybe this might be a bit too soon, but there we go. I'm always trying to counterbalance things with the opposite colour. Okay, leave that for the moment. And we carry on to the leaves. Now, it's quite a dark leaf that. It's almost black. So ultramarine blue and a little bit of hooker's green, and that will give that part here. Then we're going to fade this out with a bit of fresh water into there, just to make it not so, the transition not so hard. And then maybe a bit of cerulean blue again at the other end. There. Now for the lighter part. Really, there's not much to do in this one because it's almost a white colour. So the ridge down the middle is the thing that I can see. Sometimes you don't need to do much. It's done already, which is very much what this one's doing. Maybe darker at one end just to give it the sense that it's round and it's got some sort of shape to it. And then soften it off. See, not much to that one. Okay, just let that dry for a moment. We've almost finished it now, and it's just the last couple of marks that you need to make, just to make sure you bring it out. So I'm just going to put a bit of pure cobalt blue just to bring out the sort of differences between the leaves, so so you can tell which is where a new leaf starts. And there's a few sort of red patches in which I'm going to put out in burnt umber. And there's sort of veins coming in, so I'll put one or two of them in here. And it's very important not to overdo this. So yeah, that's pretty much there. I could add a little bit of white paint. So maybe here. Just going to dry the brush, but too much water. Here, just to bring out one or two aspects of it. And yeah, that's pretty much done for me. So a simple flower. I really think, I don't know whether I said it before, but I really think with flowers, you have to underdo them rather than overdo them. If you overdo it, then they become really heavy. And I always think it's better to underdo flowers and make it more simple rather than overcomplicate it. Anyway, that's the flower pretty much done there. Yeah, that's worked out okay. Now for the last bit of the leaf. Again, a few white marks is going to sort it out quite nicely. So the white paint there, and I think a little bit of blue as well. Okay, and then I'm going to bring something right down the center. So they have sort of veins coming in. And then that worked out nicely. And then for the other part, cerulean blue again. I think this could be a bit dark at this end and at the other end. And that'll pretty much do it. What I'll do is that final last bit again of adding a few bits of white paint. Well, not white paint, of pencil mark. And that's it. I really enjoyed painting this picture. There was something special about painting flowers. I think it's the colour. I'm a landscape painter normally, and the colours in that tulip in particular just aren't in the landscape. That red is so strong, and that's what makes flower painting so interesting. And the paintings can be so rich, which is nice to see. I like that part of it. And the primula turned out nicely. Very simple. It's not a complicated thing at all, but it looks like it's going in. And the leaf turned out nicely too. That one was almost too simple to paint. There was almost nothing of it. And the tulip, I thought that was really quite amazing. When you look at this picture in real life, the colours really come out there. There's a real brightness to it. And also the leafage here is quite fun as well. So overall, I'm pleased with what happened there. With these techniques that I've shown you, although I haven't painted a flower for a long time, I feel I can still do it. And if I apply the simple ideas about keeping it simple and the colour mixing, I find I can paint almost anything really. And I've noticed with students really that they sort of balk at some subjects, whether it's a flower or a portrait or a seascape. They say, I can't do that. But really you can do that. You can do it as long as you keep it simple and apply the proper techniques, and you'll get there in the end. But watercolour is such a fantastic medium. The luminosity is great. And I think it's the expressive nature of watercolour is so interesting. Artists, everyone, we all have our own way of doing it, and we can express the medium very quickly and with hopefully a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of trauma in watercolour painting as well, but we shouldn't look at it as a trauma. We should look at it as an opportunity to do something special. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed painting those flowers, and it makes me want to do some more really. So that's always a good effect of it. And I hope you continue with your enthusiasm with painting too. I think with your enthusiasm, that's your biggest weapon for improvement. If you can stay enthusiastic and excited about watercolour painting, then you're going to get better. And that's a wonderful message as well. And I think of that myself. Just keep enthusiastic about it. Anyway, I'll leave now, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much. Bye bye.